Hello everyone, my name is Amory and I am your instructor for this summer 12-week online edition of Introduction to Literature through Western. I wanted to say hi, put a face to a name, and go over a few of the things that we'll be doing this term. So again, my name is Amory. If it helps to remember it, it rhymes with Camry, like the car. Last name is Bodelson. You can call me either Amory or Miss Bodelson. They both work. I've been teaching at Western full-time since 2009, and I teach English Comp, Speech, Intro to Lit, and I am now also teaching American Lit. So my primary emphasis is on writing and communication and literature. I wanted to give you a visual of what the textbook that you're using looks like. It is the Norton Anthology to Literature by Kelly J. Mays. You are looking at the shorter 12th edition, and you can buy this through the bookstore. You can probably also find it online, obviously, but we will be using it, and there are some sections in it that you might not be able to find elsewhere. So I encourage you to purchase that if you have not done so already. The course is set up into 4 units. We will begin by reading fiction. So we start with reading Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, which is a short novel. It's about 160, 170 pages, which is pretty short for a novel. And then we move on to short works of fiction, so short stories, which will all be found in your Norton Anthology. We spend about 4 to 5 weeks on fiction, and then we move on to poetry. I will have you reading a variety of poems, some older, some newer, and I try to give you a representation of different voices within those poems. And we will spend a couple weeks on poems as well. And then finally we move on to drama. We will be reading 1 work by Shakespeare and a couple shorter plays, one found in your Norton, one not. So we do fiction, poetry, and then drama. And for each of those units, you will be writing a literary analysis essay, which means that you will pick one of the pieces that we've read together as a class, and you will analyze it. You will look for something within the text that you can pick apart to reveal a deeper meaning, to have us be able to see or interpret the work in a new way. I will be providing you with examples of what I'm talking about and with some questions that can generate some ideas for those essays. Our last unit in the course is a critical theory essay. When we talk about literature, one of the components of studying literature is using theory or critical theory. And there are numerous types of critical theory. We will only touch on 8, but there are more than 8. And they are lenses that we can use to apply to read a piece of literature. So, for instance, if we use the psychoanalytic lens, we are looking at ways that characters and the author use symbols, use components of their lives to reveal deeper, maybe some hidden subconscious things. So think Freud and psychoanalysis and how we look for what our dreams mean and what various indications in the setting might mean. So that would be an example of using psychoanalysis to analyze a piece. We can also use things like Marxism, we can use things like feminism, and we can use things like historical context to start to analyze pieces further. There are some schools of theory that believe that we should divorce the work from the time in which it was written, that we should only read the work and what the work says. However, many theorists, myself included, find it really hard to do that. I can't discount the fact that Mark Twain grew up in Missouri, where I'm from, and was cognizant of the racial tensions during that time when he was alive. So when he uses specific language that is now considered very, very wrong, we have to take into account the time in which it was written. So it's really hard for many people to divorce the cultural, the social, the geographic setting in which a timepiece was written than to not look at that. So consider all of those things when you begin to analyze fiction a little bit and drama and poetry a little bit further or deeper, because it might not be something that you thought about a lot in pieces that you've read before, but oftentimes it has a critical role, and we will do some covering of events that were happening in history and society during which some of these pieces were written. So you will have the 4 major essays that you write. Each week you'll also have a combination of things like journals, which are more informal responses to a piece, reader responses, which are more formal responses to a piece, some discussion boards, since this is an online class, so that you can talk to each other about the pieces that you're reading, and then occasionally some questions that I ask you to address just to me, and or a private journal that you respond to. And a couple times I will have you do a reading comprehension quiz for a piece. So that is a quick breakdown of what you can expect from this online course. Lots of reading, lots of writing, lots of thinking. Hopefully you enjoy some of the pieces. I survey each of my classes when I teach this to ask, what their takeaways were. And a lot of students are just appreciative of being able to read new pieces that they might never have approached themselves, to be able to apply those analytical, deep thinking, critical skills to not only literature but other areas of their lives, and just to learn more about people. One of the reasons that I love literature, and a lot of people love literature, is that it enables us to meet people we'll never meet, to go places we'll never go, and to experience things we'll never experience. So we get to immerse ourselves in the worlds and the minds of other people, and that, I think, helps us learn how to be human. So that's about the course, and I look forward to meeting you all online. And I have put on Blackboard the syllabus, the course calendar, and our assignments arranged by weekly folders. If you do have a question about any of that content or anything else, just drop me an email. That's the quickest way to reach me. And if you are ever in need or want of meeting face-to-face to go over something, I'm happy to do that as well. I'm teaching a couple classes face-to-face on campus this summer, and I am frequently in my office and am happy to arrange either face-to-face or phone interviews, or even Skype or Zoom interviews. So if you need me, please reach out, ask questions, and I look forward to reading your work and diving into these great works of literature with you.